Sutra. These people lacking blessings and virtue are unworthy of receiving this Dharma. The assembly is free of branches and leaves. The trunks alone remain intact. Shariputra, listen well. The Dharma obtained by the Buddhas is spoken for living beings through the power of limitless experience. The thoughts in living beings' minds, the various pathways they have walked, the nature of their various desires, their karma, good or evil, from former lives. The Buddha knows them all thoroughly. Using conditions, analogies, expressions, and powerful expedients, I cause them to rejoice. I may speak the sutras, gathas, or past events of former lives, the unprecedented causes and conditions, analogies, or gayas, or the Upadesha texts, to down-rooted ones who delight in lesser dramas, and who are greedily attached to birth and death, whom under limitless Buddhas have not walked the deep and wondrous path, oppressed by scorns and sufferings. For them I speak of Nirvana. I have established these expedients to cause them to enter the Buddha's wisdom. Never did I say, all of you will realize the Buddha way. I did not say as much because the time to speak had not yet come. The time now is exactly right to speak the great vehicle. The 9 divisions of my Dharma are spoken to accord with living beings, intending to lead them into the great vehicle. I therefore speak this sutra text. For the Buddha's disciples, pure in heart, who are compliant and have keen faculties, whom under countless Buddhas have walked the deep and wondrous path, I speak the sutra of the great vehicle. I predict that such people in the future will realize the Buddha way, for with profound thoughts they recollect the Buddha, cultivate and uphold pure morality. When they hear that they will become Buddhas, great will their rejoicing be. The Buddha knows their thoughts and conduct, and speaks the great vehicle for them. If hearers or Bodhisattvas hear this Dharma that I speak, be it but a single verse, they will become Buddhas without a doubt. Commentary. These people lacking blessings and virtue. These people refers to the 5,000 who walked out. They had no blessings and no virtuous conduct. In other words, they had no good rules. Are unworthy of receiving this Dharma. They cannot accept the wonderful Dharma of the great vehicle because their good rules are not big enough. The assembly is free of branches and leaves. Among those who left in the assembly, the Bodhisattvas and their hearts, there are no twigs or leaves, no miscellaneous brush. The trunks alone remain intact. Only the trunks, the solid foundation, the great vehicle, pupil with virtuous practice remain. None of the small vehicle people are left. Only those with the disposition of great vehicle bodhisattvahood remain. Shariputra, listen well, listen attentively to what I am about to say. The Dharma obtained by the Buddhas, the unsurpassed, extremely profound, subtle and wonderful Dharma obtained by the Buddhas of the 10 directions, is spoken for living beings through the power of limitless expedience. The power of limitless, boundless expedience leads living beings to set aside the small and hurt towards the great, to bring forth the Bodhi heart and realize the position of Buddhahood. I use expedient devices and in teaching the three vehicles. Originally, they are not three vehicles, they are only provisional. The thoughts in living beings' minds, everything they are thinking, the various pathways they have walked, all the different modes of practice they have cultivated, the nature of their various desires. Each living being has his own type of desire. Where do these desires come from? They are karma, good or evil, from former lives. If they have good karma, the burden of their desires will be a bit lighter. If most of their karma is evil, they will bear a heavy burden of desire. So, you can figure it out for yourself. Ask yourself, are my thoughts of desire heavy or light? If they are light, then my gurus are deep and thick. If they are heavy, that means my gurus are weak and thin. What is meant by thoughts of desire? Thoughts of desire are just your afflictions. They are also just ignorance. They are the things that you cannot see through, you cannot break through. They are the things you cannot let go of. The Buddha knows them all thoroughly. Using his Buddha eye to observe them, the Buddha understands their dispositions completely. He knows all the desires and all of the thoughts in the minds of living beings. Using conditions, analogies, various causes and conditions, and various analogies, expressions, and powerful expedients, I cause them to rejoice. When living beings hear the Buddha Dharma, they are extremely happy. I may speak the Sutras. Sutra, a Sanskrit word that means a tolling text. Above it tallies with the principles of all the Buddhas, and below it tallies with the living beings to be taught. Above it is one with the Buddha nature. Below it is one with the causes and conditions of living beings to be taught. Gathas. Gatha is a Sanskrit word. Gathas are verses used to repeat the principles set forth in the prose passages. Some of them arise independently of the prose lives. An example would be the verse in the Vajra Sutra. All conditioned dharmas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dewdrops or lightning flash. You should contemplate them first. God has often expressed key principles such as these lines also from the Vajra Sutra. One who sees me in forms or seeks me in sounds practices a different way and will not see the first come one. Or past events, this refers to stories of the events in the previous lives of disciples or bodhisattvas. Of former lives, this refers to events of the past lives of the Buddhas. The unprecedented, this refers to stories of the events in the past lives of the Buddhas. Causes and conditions, analogies, or gayas. Gayas are verses which repeat the meanings given in the preceding prose sections, such as the verse being discussed right now, or Upadesha texts. The Sanskrit word Upadesha means a commentary, a discussion of the meaning. So down-rooted ones to delight in lesser dharmas. The small vehicles people have a down roots. They refer lesser dharmas and do not like the great vehicle dharma, and who are greedily attached to birth and death. They are greedily attached to the revolving wheel of birth and death. They do not want to part with birth and death. Who are the limitless Buddhas in the presence of limitless Buddhas of the past have not walked the deep and wondrous path. They did not cultivate the way, the Dharma, which is extremely profound, subtle, and miraculous. oppressed by scores of sufferings. This refers to the 8 sufferings: birth, old age, sickness, death, being separated from what you love, meeting with what you hate, not getting, suffering with suffering, the suffering of decay, and the suffering of all of the life process. They are tortured by the 3 meanings, 3 sufferings, the 8 sufferings, and all the limitless sufferings. For them, I speak of Nirvana, the doctrine of permanence, bliss, true self, and purity. I have established these expedients. I have devised expedient Dharma doors to cause them to enter the Buddha's wisdom, to cause all those people who like the small vehicle to obtain the Buddha's wisdom. Never did I say, all of you will realize the Buddha way. I never said that the small vehicle people could also become Buddhas. Now I'm speaking the fine and subtle great vehicle Dharma. Everyone can become a Buddha. I did not say as much because the time to speak had not yet come. When the Buddha speaks the Dharma, he first observes the causes and conditions to see whether or not the time is right. Right now it is exactly the right time to speak the wonderful Dharma Lotus Flower Sutra. The time now is exactly right to speak the great vehicle. The 9 divisions of my Dharma are spoken to accord with living beings. The 9 divisions mentioned above are spoken in response to the needs of living beings, intending to lead them into the great vehicle. I therefore speak this sutra text. I first spoke the dharmas of the lesser vehicles and was to lead them into the great vehicle, and that is why I'm speaking this sutra now. For the Buddha's disciples, pure in heart, who are compliant and have keen faculties, they are gentle, mild, intelligent, and wise. They have the seeds, the basic makeup of the great vehicle, who understand, who under countless Buddhas have walked the deep and wondrous path. Why are they compliant and intelligent? It is because in the past, in the process of limitless Buddhas, they have practiced the product, subtle and wonderful Dharma doors. I speak the Sutra of the Great Vehicle. I speak the wonderful Dharma Lotus Flower Sutra. I predict that such people in the future will realize the Buddha way. In a future life, they will become Buddhas. With profound thoughts, they recollect the Buddha, cultivate and uphold pure morality. With hearts of the great vehicle, they cultivate and maintain the Buddha Dharma and uphold pure morality. When they hear that they shall become Buddhas, great will their rejoicing be. The Buddha knows their thoughts and conduct and speaks the great vehicle for them. Knowing the thoughts in the minds and knowing the deeds that they do, the Buddha teaches them the great vehicle Dharma. If hearers of Bodhisattvas near this Dharma that I speak, be it but a single verse, if they hear so much as a single verse, they will become Buddhas without a doubt. They can all realize Buddhahood. There is no doubt about it. Sutra. In the Buddha lands of the 10 directions, there is only the Dharma of one vehicle. There are not 2 or 3, except those spoken by the Buddhas as explained, as expedients, and those are but false appellations used to induce living beings, so that they may teach them the Buddha's wisdom. The Buddhas appear in the world only for the sake of this one real matter. The other 2 are not the truth. To the end, they would not use the small vehicle to rescue living beings. The Buddha himself dwells in the great vehicle, and in accord with the dharmas he has gained, adorned with the power of samadhi and wisdom, he uses this to save living beings. Having certified to the supreme path myself, the great vehicle's dharma of equality, were I to teach by means of the small vehicle, even a single human being, I would have fallen into stingy greed. But such a thing could never be. Commentary. In the Buddha lands of the 10 directions, there is only the Dharma of one vehicle. There is only one kind of teaching Dharma. And what is that? It is the great vehicle. There are not 2 or 3. The 2 vehicles and the 3 vehicles do not exist. Only the Buddha vehicle is real, except those spoken by the Buddhas as expedients. However, although it is said that there is only the Buddha vehicle and that the 2 vehicles and 3 vehicles do not exist, still because he wishes to teach and transform living beings, the Buddha sets up expedient Dharma laws. He speaks the final vehicle and the great vehicle. He establishes the lesser vehicle to lead living beings towards the great vehicle. And those are but false appellations. They are just a false name. They correspond to nothing in reality, used to induce living beings to teach and transform living beings and cause them to cultivate the easy first and then later to seek the great vehicle, the Buddha vehicle, so that he may teach them the Buddha's wisdom. Because he leads and guides living beings, they eventually attain the Buddha's wisdom. The Buddhas appear in the world only for the sake of this one real matter. It is always for the same reason. The other 2 are not the truth. The 2 vehicles and the 3 vehicles are not real. To the end, they would not use the small vehicles to rescue living beings. The Buddhas would never ever use the teaching doctrines of the small vehicle to teach living beings. The Buddha himself dwells in the great vehicle. The Buddha himself abides in the great vehicle Dharma that is in the Buddha vehicle, and in accord with the Dharma he has gained. The Dharma he attained in the Bodhimanda is true, real, and is not a provisional device. Adorned with the power of samadhi and wisdom, the Buddha has 10 powers. Previously, I lectured the prose passage. I should have mentioned them, but I deliberately did not, so that those of you who like to study the Buddha Dharma could wait nervously for a while until the verse section to have them explained. The Buddha has 10 powers, 10 kinds of wisdom powers. They are 1. The wisdom power of knowing points of enlightenment and non-enlightenment. That is, the Buddha is aware, enlightened to the point of what is enlightened and what is not. 2. The wisdom power of knowing the karmic retributions of the 3 periods of time. That is, he knows the operations of karmic retributions as they work in the past, present, and future. 3. The wisdom power of knowing all the jhanas, liberations, and small vehicle. Dhyana, liberation, and samadhis. That is, the 4 dhyanas and the 8 samadhis, the first, second, third, and fourth dhyanas, plus the station of limitless space, the station of limitless consciousness, the station of nothing whatsoever. and the station of neither perception nor non-perception. That is the 8 samadhis. There are 8 liberations. A. The liberation in which inside there is the mark of form and outwardly form is completed. B. The liberation in which inwardly there is no mark of form and outwardly form is contemplated. C. The liberation of the pure liberation body wherein pure liberation has been attained. D. The liberation of the station of limitless space. E. The liberation of the station of limitless consciousness. F. The liberation of the station of nothing whatsoever. The liberation of the station of neither perception nor non-perception. The liberation of the samadhi of the extinction of the skandhas of perception and perception. These are also called the 8 renunciations. There are also 8 victorious places. When one renounces greed and desire, one attains a place of victory. They are: A. The various places in which inwardly there is the mark of form, life, outwardly a small amount of form is contemplated. B. The victorious place in which inwardly there is a mark of form, while outwardly a large amount of form is contemplated. C. The victorious place in which inwardly there is no mark of form, while outwardly a small amount of form is contemplated. D. The victorious place in which inwardly there is no mark of form, while outwardly a large amount of form is contemplated. E. The victorious place of blue color. F. The victorious place of yellow color. G. The victorious place of red color. H. The victorious place of white color. These are the 8 victorious places. This means that in cultivating these 8 kinds of dharmas, you can renounce, can turn your back on thoughts of desire and attain a victorious and liberated wisdom. In the first of the 8 victorious places, it is said that inwardly one has the mark of form and outwardly a small amount of form is completed. At this stage, one's samadhi power is not yet complete, and it is to be feared that if a large amount of form were contemplated, one's samadhi power might become scattered. So a small amount of form is contemplated. For example, one single corpse is contemplated, not a lot of them. You watch one corpse goes through its stages of decay, smelling, turning green, and so forth. In the second of the 8 victorious places, not once, but maybe 100, 1,000, or 10,000 corpses are contemplated. Corpses everywhere. They all go through changes: swell, rot, burst open, are eaten by worms, etc. Actually, there are 9 stages of a rotting corpse, known as the 9-mark contemplation. So the 8 victorious places, you add emptiness and consciousness to form the 10 own places. These 3 dharmas, the 8 liberations, the 8 victorious places, and the 10 own places should be known by all cultivators of the dhyana school. So the third of the Buddha's 10 wisdom powers is the knowledge of the dhyanas, liberations, and samadhi. To continue the first of the Buddha's 10 powers. 4. The wisdom power of knowing the superior or baseness of the root of all living beings. 5. The wisdom power of knowing the various understandings. 6. The wisdom power of knowing the various realms. 7. The wisdom power of knowing where all paths lead. 8. The wisdom power of the knowledge of the unobstructed heavenly eye. 9. The wisdom power without outflows of knowing former lives. 10. The wisdom power of eternally severing all habitual energies. The Buddha has these 10 powers, and so the sutra text says, adorned with the power of samadhi and wisdom. He uses these to save living beings. He uses his powers to teach and transform living beings. Having certified to the supreme path myself, the great vehicles Dharma of equality were to teach by means of the small vehicle. Even a single human being, if I did not teach and transform beings by means of the great vehicle, but instead used the doctrines of the lesser vehicles, crossing over even one living being, I would have fallen into stingy greed. The Buddha speaks of himself, saying, if I used the small vehicle to teach even one single person, I would fall into a stingy, greedy, and miserly attitude. I would be stingy with the Dharma because I would not be able to part with the great vehicle Dharma. But such a thing could never be. It will simply never happen. By the way, I did not use the book just now when I explained the 10 powers and 8 liberations, and I did not prepare them ahead of time. I just remembered them.